What is up, everybody? And we are back with some meat and potatoes, right? Some data, some facts, not fiction, on what's going on in the housing market. 1 million plus apartments are set to be delivered nationally amid slower rental housing market. So the rental market is slowing, I guess, according to this article here. So it's in a record number are coming. Check this out. A record number of apartments are delivering this year, with more than 107,000 units have finished construction in Q2, and another 1 million units under construction at the end of June. That's a lot of apartments. Now you get on here, you can see that Phoenix kind of needs some, I guess. The demand is there based on all the studies they do. Houston's number one, Phoenix is number two, and then of course Dallas, Chicago, Charlotte, Nashville, Austin, etc. You can see the graph. So there is some an absorption rate there that Phoenix will certainly absorb and is needed. Now, where those apartments go is a whole other thing, because there's some people in Scottsdale, for example, that aren't too happy about all these apartments that are just popping up everywhere. But there's other cities, I'm sure, that are not either, like Chandler, etc. But you have this article that talks about all these apartments are set to be delivered, and potentially some people might get stuck. That is out there. It's a real thing. In fact, there is a seller that took a loss, I know, on one of them here coming up, that was sold last month. But you can't win everything, right? There's going to be losses out there, but it just talks about nationally how the absorption rate can't keep up with the amount of apartments that are set to be delivered. So that's going to be interesting to see what happens in the multifamily section of the commercial loans, especially that we just talked about, that have already seen some sort of default. Okay, so very interesting to keep a tab on. Now let's jump over here to this more development, because this is cool. This one's awesome, guys. I love this story, because who doesn't like going into a big city or just a city, right? And seeing, off in the distance, skyscrapers, right? A downtown city skyline. I was just in Chicago visiting family, and Chicago, holy cow. New York City, you see all the drone, photography or video of New York City, Manhattan. You know that. Obviously, Chicago's a large city, third largest city in the country. So they're going to have big buildings. But when you go downtown, it's incredible how many buildings that are over, 40 stories or more there are. It's incredible. There are a lot. In fact, we took the architectural boat tour around the city. It was awesome. But Phoenix doesn't have that, okay? But it has some tall buildings, it does. And they're going to add one more. Look at this, guys. Here's the rendering for the next tall skyscraper in Phoenix. It's going to be the tallest building in downtown Phoenix and in Arizona. It's called Astra. It's a $575 million project that will include one tower of 45 floors and rising to the height of 541 feet, surpassing the Chase Tower, the former Chase Tower, which was the largest building at 483. The second tower with Astra will be 36 floors. So one 45, another one with 36. There's the deal. And I'm just sitting there going, why not just put them on top of each other and let's go big, right? That's what I want to see. Well, what's 45 plus 36? I don't even know. That's, what is that? 91. Let's just make one big 91-story skyscraper and put it on the map, right? Because Phoenix doesn't have these tall buildings. But for some reason, I'm sure there's a good reason for that, they're choosing not to do that. So nonetheless, there'll be two larger buildings that will add to the city of Phoenix downtown skyline. And it talks about what it is. Now, it's not all going to be office space, okay? It's a 2-acre site, but it's going to have a bunch of commercial space, 697 apartment units, a 229-room hotel, and some office space and parking spaces on the 2 acres. Okay, so commercial space, office space, and then of course living. So they struck a deal with the city of Phoenix, which they're not going to pay taxes for the first 8 years since from the time they received their certificate of occupancy. And this building is set to be delivered in 2027. So let's go look at the pictures here, guys. This is kind of cool. You're gonna have a rooftop pool of some sort. You got a little. Hopefully, no one falls off the edge. Hopefully, they have a nice big railing there, right? That wouldn't be good. There you go. So cool, right? I think it's gonna be pretty sweet to have a nice glass modern skyscraper in the downtown city of Phoenix. What do you think? Is that good for Phoenix? Is it bad? I think it's good. We have a lot of development happening in Phoenix, so it's needed. I know that, in terms of just extra space for commercial space and living space in downtown Phoenix. Okay, so that was pretty cool. Next one here. This is really quick, guys, but you guys know the TSMC plant in North Phoenix is still humming along. They are building that thing, which is going to provide 4,000 jobs, high-paying jobs in the tech chip sector. Okay, But this is just an apartment complex that by the way, my buddy George Marvia right here, I know George very well. Tower Capital, they financed this deal. It's only $88 million, no big deal. But this is a 354 unit build to rent community that they're doing in North Phoenix by TSMC on 40 acres. So pretty cool. Shout out to George and Tower Capital. Okay. Here we go. We have another one here. Small businesses. Now, this is one that kind of ties into the inflation issue, right? The CPI came out yesterday, and what did they say? Let's just cut over to this USA Today article. You guys ready for this one? Inflation cools again in June as gains in grocery prices slow. The CPI report shows. That's good. That's good. CPI went down. The index went down. Inflation is coming down a little more, supposedly based upon how they categorize it. But sometimes you got to wonder, how are they doing that actually? No, I'm just kidding. It's all on facts, right? So here we go. All right. A year after U.S. inflation hit a 40-year high of 9.1%. Oops, I'm reading the CPI report, and I didn't even tell you guys I'm not sharing my screen. Here you go. Right here, USA Today. A year after U.S. inflation hit a 40-year high of 9.1%, it has fallen by about 2/3, but bringing down annual consumer price increases the rest of the way. Okay. The Fed, guys, is trying to achieve an interest rate of 2%. Excuse me. That's not true. Scratch that. An inflation rate of 2%. Guys, interest rates of 2% would be awesome. That's not the deal, okay? It is inflation. I got that wrong, okay? I misspoke. So we're not there. We're still above 3, okay? Consumer prices overall increased 3% from a year earlier, down from 4% in May, according to the Labor Department's Consumer Price Index. That's the smallest yearly increase since March 2021. On a monthly basis, prices rose 2.2%, following a 0.1 increase in May. So, guys, all this overall, it's a lot of blah, 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 but all this overall is good. Inflation is supposedly coming down. We're not feeling it yet, and the Fed is not convinced either. Why? Because the Fed, they're still, here we go. Core prices, which exclude volatile food and energy items and better reflect longer-term trends, have been tougher to subdue. This is the problem, okay? The Fed is not convinced either. How much longer will the Fed raise rates? Here you go. Despite the significant easing of core inflation, and most economists reckon it won't be enough for the Federal Reserve, which watches the key price measure more closely. As a result, forecasters expect, here we go, the Fed to raise interest rates again this month after pausing in June to assess the economic impact of its aggressive hiking campaign since early 2022. All right, so that's that. And then we go back here. Now, small businesses back off price increases as inflation eases. That's good. So a lot of small business prices aren't going up at the same rate. So we won't have to increase our prices, right? Because inflation is starting to come down. That's the core of this. But what's interesting is the projection. Listen to this, guys. Here you go. The NFIB survey also found that these three things. Small business owners expect better business conditions over the next 6 months. Okay. 42% of owners reported job openings that were hard to fill, down 2 points from May. 59% of owners reported hiring or trying to hire in June, down 4 points from May. Of those other owners hiring or trying to hire, 92% reported few to no qualified applicants for the positions they're trying to fill. So that's rising optimism that from small business owners that apparently they feel the business economy is going to get actually a little better in the second half than worse. Now, don't tell that to the Federal Reserve because they're trying to put us in a recession. So you have these two forces colliding against each other. And ultimately, guys, because the Fed has the trump card when it comes to raising the interest rates, they're probably going to get their way. They will get their way if they keep forcing the issue. So $18 million waterslide project opens at JW Marriott Phoenix Desert Ridge Resort and Spa. Look at that, guys. There's 3 water slides, 18 million bucks. So it's not at a water park. It's at the JW Marriott. Now, you can see over here, there's golf, which is Wildfire. That's the course. It is amazing. And over here, you have the lazy river. Guys, I really appreciate you guys joining through the summer. Now, the summer in Arizona for our housing market, just to cap it off here, is a little bit slower in July. We're going to still bring you content on development, on cool spots to go visit while you're here if you're visiting or you're planning to come visit when it gets a little cooler outside, because Phoenix is truly a special place in all the suburbs, right? The market is resilient. It is doing very well. Supply remains low. Demand remains about normal. And therefore, you have prices that are continuing to increase at this point. Slowly, but increasing. Again, as I covered 2 weeks ago, year to date, as of 2 weeks ago, the average appreciation rate in Phoenix was 9%. That is phenomenal when you have rates that are hovering around 7% and have been so for the entire year. So, guys, if you're thinking when is the right time to jump in, I can't answer that for a specific situation, but I would certainly love to have a conversation with you, and we can walk through that, and I can give you some of my opinions and thoughts on when that might be. And for some people, maybe now is not the right time. But in terms of time, in terms of trying to time the market, it's darn near impossible, guys. So if you have an exit strategy, you heard me say it before, I'll say it again. If you have an exit strategy that is somewhat down the road to sell the house, in other words, you don't have to maybe get out or force to be get out because you're on a contract work in 6 months that's up, it's probably a good time to buy. If you buy right now, you'll have less competition, be able to hopefully dictate terms, hopefully not everywhere, and get a good deal for today's market. Then hopefully the market will, the rates will at some point, not hopefully they will, the market's cyclical, could be a while, but hopefully not, rates will come down and you can always refinance at that time. But there's other levers to pull that we can help you with, like rate buy downs, etc. Give us a call. We'd love to help you out. 480-660-5974. And as always, guys, thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate your time. I know it's valuable. And until next time, Phoenix, keep it classy.